divine, infinite human beings. You are all that is, ever has been, and ever can be. You are divine, infinite love. You are divine, infinite source. I'm in Italy, and someone asked me how I was getting my information because I've been as vocal as I possibly can be without my computer, which got a virus. And I've been trying to share what I've been getting. I want to say that the most important thing to know now is that you are divine, infinite human beings, and you can connect directly with divine, infinite source and get your information. I made a video about that yesterday. And I also made a video about how I get my information. I get it intuitively, and I've learned to trust my voice through trial and error, through being in life and death situations where the only option I had was to trust my inner voice over all the external, Kiki's over there, the external world. And I developed that voice. And I also actually lost everything. It's a long story about my journey into being completely freed. the saying, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, but I have been freed of what I would call the three-dimensional planet, and I've had to learn to trust my own intuition. With that said, I always confirm what I get by looking outside myself, by listening to other sources, by researching, by documenting things, and reading between the lines. And I want to say that the true power is knowing that you are divine, infinite source, not waiting for anyone else to tell you what you should do and what you should think. No one. Not a religion or church, not a guru or a spiritual teacher that you're giving your power to, not a government, not a cause, not a group, not your parents, not your children, not your neighbors, not your spouse. It ultimately, and this is something that nobody wants to hear, and that's why I'm not selling anything, because it's not a popular, nobody wants to buy this. But I just feel called to speak my truth now, and I'm not going to get disciples and followers, which is not what I want, because nobody wants to hear, hey, you know it. The only way people are going to line up and pay you is if you give them, kind of a fix, a temporary fix that makes them feel better. And that's pretty much what has been happening here, especially on the planet and with the world. Now, do I know I'm divine, infinite source? Do I know I have the power? Yes. Am I afraid? No. I'm not even afraid of death, because it's just a transition. So I'm not afraid, and I guess some people could say I'm a very powerful person, a very dangerous person. But I know my power. I am coming into my power every time I reach a challenge. So actually, I love the dark side. I know a lot of people are afraid of the darkness. They're afraid when they hear the scary things. Oh, you're locked down. Oh, you're going to die from, a plague, a virus. Oh, even 5G is all around you. No, I want to know what it is, though. I want to know what I need to do so my inner voice is clear, and I know that what I'm getting is contrasting to the external narratives. I know I'm not going crazy because I confirm that I'm not. And when I hear other voices, it helps me. Not that I follow them, but it resonates because it confirms what I've been getting. So that's what I do when I look outside of myself to other sources. And yes, it does help to hear other people's voices. So if you just use your eyes like a child, the whole saying, to enter the kingdom of heaven, you need to be a child. Children are born with innocence and knowledge until they have it programmed out of them in school systems. And if you just look with the eyes of a child, let's say you just, close your ears, don't hear anything around you, but you see people walking around muted. they're not able to speak their truth, which is why, for me, I've been getting, from source, that it's really time to speak your truth. And everyone's being, pushed away, isolated away. This is a piazza that would be normally full of cafes and tourists and people walking around. Nothing. Church is open though. More indoctrination. So it's time to speak out, I really believe. And I will say that because this is where I've been led. I've been speaking out for a long time and nobody's listened, of course. And I kept saying, as many other people have said, and I've mentioned David Icke, who's done it brilliantly and had his video deleted, that I know the one world order agenda. First of all, just convincing people that it exists is a big test. But if you don't, the whole world was shut down like in a matter of weeks, days. If there's not a very organized hand running things, it's so obvious. We've been frightened and traumatized to death, which disempowers you. Most of the planet, Italians who are very rebellious are walking around terrified with their, muscles on. And that's what's going on. And I just thought I could get away from it all. I thought, I'll just find a little piece of land and live a self-sustaining lifestyle, which actually my husband and I had created in Montana. And I grow my own. Here in Sicily, it's a beautiful year. The volcanic soil is rich, and I was going to just grow my own food, be self-sufficient, and do whatever I needed to do. And guess what has happened? I have not seen people die. In fact, in this town, everyone knows everybody. No one has died, not one person. But what has happened is five towers of 5G are right up there, and other things are attached. And I have felt the frequencies and have had to deal with it health-wise, which I'm getting over. So that has happened while everyone's been locked down. Also, financially, all the small stores, except just a few, have been shut down. And I come from a country in America where there are hardly any independent businesses anymore. They've all been, gobbled up by the big corporations. So all the supermarkets are booming now because all the money is being directed. So those are the things that have happened in this lockdown. Am I going to speak out against it? Yes. Am I going to, not, am I going to speak up? Yes. Am I going to show up for a world, free ourselves, no more lockdown? Yes. I am. I feel like I need to. I feel like I need to set the example of someone who is in their infinite divine power and expressing their God-given sovereign freedom from a place of love and light, from I called it, the Mahatma Gandhi great soul, which means Mahatma, I thought he demonstrated to our planet a really good way to resist, because the power is in not getting caught up in the narratives that people are spinning, not participating in it to the best of your ability. And that's really what you're doing. You're taking your power back and not giving it away to something external, which goes back to the first thing I said. Don't, pay people to tell you what to think. Don't wait for someone, you have to see the agendas so you can free yourself. And that's the biggest problem. Like I said, I was going to just grow my own food and meditate and be on the new earth and, to hell with the rest of humanity. But we are all one. We are interrelated. You cannot just cut yourself off. And now I'm surrounded by 5G, which is a whole story in and of itself. No, it's not just fast internet. It is a weaponry, and there is a prison matrix, technological prison matrix that is encircling our planet, and it's a next step up in the one world order, which same old. They've been putting it into place for thousands of years now. It's just one of the next movements. And then of course, the vaccinations and chips and money being taken out of circulation, no more cash, and just more and more shutdowns, more and more tightening the reins. And I feel like I need to set an example and not follow that. Why? How? No, I'm not going to scream, but I am going to follow my intuition. Yes, and my intuition has never steered me wrong. And you know what? As there's still freedom, thank God. We're not in Minority Report where drones hover over us and zap us if we're not following orders. We still have a lot of freedom that we need to keep using, because you don't use it or lose it. Everyone knows. Use your freedom or you lose your freedom. And I have seen in America how the freedom has been slowly, and it's slowly taken away. This is a big movement, and I'm almost wishing that the lockdown would not go away, because it's causing, and I wish it would get really, really tight, especially in the States where people have been so locked down, they don't even know it. I mean, just within my lifetime, and I'm over a quarter of a century old, half a century old that I've been on this planet, I have seen schools go more and more into, prisons that do not empower creativity and imagination and free thinking. I wrote a book about that we're snuffing out the creative sparkle of our children. We're robbing them of their creative sparkle. I went all over America, talk shows, book signings, you name it, to try to get that message. Where are we now? Standardized tests, art, music has been pulled from most curriculums, sports, competition has been empowered, and standardized testing is what students have to do to perform. I've worked in the healthcare system with my husband, Peter, a physician. We traveled all around the planet talking about healing being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And Peter would talk about the art of medicine. Ding dong. The art of medicine is no longer, we even wrote a book about it, The Pathway Home, talking about how medicine and business do not mix. And now what we see as medicine, healthcare in the United States, is nothing more than drug dealers who prescribe prescription drugs that kill you, they don't heal you, vaccinations, and surgeries that remove your body parts when something isn't working, rather than seeing what the dis-ease is about. So that's totally inverted. And food, I don't want to talk about that, from pesticides that moved to GMOs, and we used to complain about the pesticides. Now you can't even get whole food anymore, which of course is fueling the healthcare crisis. And most Americans are obese, they have diabetes, heart conditions, and I know, I've been in it. I even took prescription drugs for a while, and it took me to come here to Italy to get off of them. My God, they're so deadly. My liver was a toxic dump, but I got over that. I've been there. I've been through all of this. Everything I talk about, I have experienced firsthand. So that's the healthcare system. And then meanwhile, and I know some people can't even see it still, but chemtrailing, we know that, the GMOs of the food, and now with this internet, 5G, it's all a technological prison. And I've said this before in other videos, anybody's listening, they're slowly turning us into artificial intelligence. People are like, what? And who? And the plot thickens. But really, open your eyes, see the agenda. And yes, of course, I'm going to be doing, I've said on my channel, I'm going to do meditations to help us empower ourselves, to help us break up this grid. And our thoughts are very powerful. But we are not, many of us are starseeds, but we're not on other planets right now. We have other people. I have someone I love very much who's not in form anymore, and I'm working with him. Peter, my husband, I'm working with him every day, but I am in form here. So I have to use my voice, my body. I have to move around this planet. I'm not just going to sequester and meditate like I wanted to in a villa and grow my own food, because it's all interconnected, and I'm going to try to bring as many people with me and try to, my whole mission is to support the ascension of humanity and planet Earth. No, I'm not just hoping that most of the planet dies off so me and a few wealthy people can have it all to ourselves. What, you know? I felt that way before, but you know what? Humanity's not so bad. I kind of miss them. So anyway, follow your intuition, follow your heart, trust your connection to Source. It's up to you. Step into your power. You will know what you need to do, where you need to be. Whether it's participating in a mass movement to free the planet, or whether, whatever, you will know moment to moment by following your intuition and your connection with Source. Love you guys. Ciao.